Hi, everyone. We are going to talk about burnout today and somebody who knows a lot about it herself and actually teaches tools to avoid burnout in coming from a sustainable fuel source. This is what she calls it. So I'm excited to talk about Sue Bryan's sprint course that we offer through OneFreePlanet called The Art and Science of Getting Things Done. And she's going to share her story. Actually, she's really amazing. I took this sprint myself, and so I can speak from my own experience that she knows what she's talking about. She's been through burnout herself a couple of times, and she's going to share that with us, I'm sure. And so she therefore has done a lot of work to develop tools that actually work. And her sprint experience is really powerful to help you clarify how you can cultivate in your own life a source of sustainable fuel to get things done. You know, we all have busy lives. We all still need to get things done. And she has a lot of great information to offer us and transformation to offer us that help us to come from a sustainable source when we're moving through the world and doing what we're here to do. One of the things that's so important about getting a handle on this for ourselves is that if you don't manage it properly, if you're not coming from a sustainable fuel source, when you're doing something that you love, like you might find the thing that you really love and you feel called to do in the world, and you can still burn out doing that. And it's not because you aren't meant to do it. It's not that it's not your purpose. It's not that, you don't love it. It's just that the way you're going about it is perhaps an old way, a habit that you used to have, or it's some way that's not working for you now. And it can have us end up thinking, oh, well, this is not the right thing for me. When it's not about the thing, it's about the fact that you're still doing things in a way that don't serve you, that are not coming from taking care of yourself first. And so it's especially important for people like us who are, well, us, I'm assuming that you're in the same boat. Anybody who's out in the world doing something they really feel passionate about, it's super important for us to take care of ourselves and manage the burnout factor, because we need your work in the world. We need you to continue doing the thing that you're doing. And if you are not paying attention to this and you get burned out again and again simply because you're not managing your own habits, then we don't get to benefit from your calling. We don't get to benefit from the thing that you really actually do love, but you're just not able to really go forward with because your habits in doing the things are not serving you. Like that particular point that I was just sharing was so important for me to hear, and I want other people to hear it too. And yay, you made it!
Thank you for ad-libbing so beautifully. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and if you're having any problem with sound, you could also put a headset on, but if it sounds okay to you now, then okay.
It's awesome. Perfect. It's perfect. Let's go with what's working.
Yes. Yay. So Sue, I don't know if you heard what I was talking about just before you jumped on. I was sharing probably the most powerful takeaway that I got in joining your sprint that we're going to be talking about is this clarity on just because you're experiencing burnout does not mean that the thing you're trying to do is not the thing that you want to do. You know, right. You can get burned out on anything, even if it's the thing you're meant to do in the world.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened to me. You know, first, I mean, I was homeschooling 4 children, and I really, really wanted to do that. That was a huge passion of mine. I was super connected to it, and I still burnt out because I was going about it the wrong way.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk about a little bit, just in case, because I was also sharing earlier that sometimes if you're so caught up in everything that's going on, you may not even be aware that you're burning out. So can you talk a little bit about what that looked like for you? What are the signs that you experienced then?
Yeah, it was interesting because I wasn't even aware of burnout as a thing, honestly, but I found that I could not force myself to work any harder. Like I had this idea that I think we all pick up along the way that you can always do a little more. You can always push a little harder. And we even foster that thought in schools because, you know, you just got to do better than the other guy, right? You just got to do a little more than anyone else. And if you do a little more than anyone else, you'll be the success that you want to be. And that's such a terrible myth because especially now, it's like a 20th century way to deal with a problem that is exponentially huger in the 21st century. There is more to do than we could possibly do as individual human beings. And so this habit of just pushing through the resistance, pushing through the I don't want to do this, you know, whatever method we use to push, push, push is what ends up causing the burnout. So for me, and it can come about in many ways. Some people get sick physically. For me, I just couldn't think anymore. I couldn't make decisions. I couldn't think anymore. It was the weirdest thing. It was like my brain just shut down and I couldn't make a plan or make a decision. And so I ended up just letting stuff go, which was an okay solution, but it wasn't really what I wanted to do. You know, I wanted to be more effective in what I was doing, but stuff just fell by the wayside. And then my whole life changed. And in changing, I felt some relief. You know, they say a change is as good as a rest. And so I felt some relief from the overwhelm. But then I jumped right back into a new situation with the same methodology and fried myself again. You know, working 60, 70 hours a week, trying to do something that felt really important, really valuable to me, really important to the world. And then I just decided, you know, you get these fantasies. I'm going to drop everything, go to Fiji, right? I'm just going to go live on the beach somewhere and not have all this pressure. And so again, I made a major change in my life. I quit one job and started another job, but I went about that other job in the same way.
Oh my gosh.
And
I want to pause. Is this resonating with anybody who's watching? If it is, like, hit some likes and some loves, because I know that this is probably pretty common out there.
Yeah. Look.
Or some sads or whatever you're feeling about it, I suppose. But yes, this is so good. I love that we're highlighting this. So tell us about this third time.
Well, so the third time I just abandoned everything. And I looked at my life and I figured I had 6 months that I could afford to live without doing anything and just think about it and just think about what I was doing, how I was doing it, what I wanted my life to be like, to include a little more play and relaxation in my life. And I have never gone back. So, which is fabulous. So what I realized is that, and this, we talk about this in the sprint, that everything that we want to do has this field of resistance around it. And there's lots of reasons for that we don't have time to get into now. We get into a little bit in the sprint, but it's not the resistance that gets us, it's the method that we use to get through the resistance. And what we've learned to do is push, 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 right? To adrenalize ourselves, to bribe ourselves, to punish ourselves severely enough to get us through that resistance. And that's what burns us out. So the resistance itself is a normal part of any kind of creation. But what we want to do is learn ways to befriend the resistance, move through it in a way that's sustainable and self-loving and self-caring. And that involves switching to sustainable fuel sources other than adrenaline and bribery and competition and the threatening punishment, all that stuff that we're used to using. So it's really that simple. And then you can really do anything. But part of the process as well is beginning to really own and step into what is our dream? What is the dream that I'm having? Not someone else's dream, not what I imagine the world needs, although that's part of my dream, but what is my dream? How do I want it to look? How do I want it to feel? How do I want it to be? And so many of us are operating on someone else's dream.
Right. And I remember that day. There's a day that we talk about dreaming in the sprint, and it's really powerful. Like, it's an actual practice. It's important in our lives. And dreaming, I feel like, I just had this thought this morning. Dreaming is a courageous act in modern times for some reason, you know, and it's also the place that creates our reality. So it's so interesting that we, I don't know, it's almost looked upon as like a waste of time, but it's so important.
It's the most important thing. It's the most important thing. And yet we all learned that, wool gathering, daydreaming, spending time twiddling your thumbs, just contemplating your navel is all ridiculous and ineffective and wrong somehow. And yet, and yet that's what fuels us to move forward in a passion, in a dream that we have. So it's really important to cultivate that as a habit.
Definitely. Can you tell me, do you have a dream that you want to share with us right now? What's something that's clear for you?
Yeah, I have a couple of different dreams that are really big for me. One dream is that I want to create a, a kind of a school or an academy, a collaborative academy locally here, where people can actually come, not online, to learn different life skills, not in a basic life skills like writing your checks and things like that, but life skills in a consciousness evolution, um, world in that context, which is actually happening. And I do spend a fair amount of time, because I have no idea how to do that, like none, so no idea. So I do spend a fair amount of time just wondering what it would be like, just sitting and say, what would my role be like? How much would I work? What would my days be like? What would my colleagues be like? What kind of location would we have? What would the experience of our students be? It just really asking all those questions and focusing on that. And the other dream that I have, which I'll just say out loud, is I have written two novels out of a trilogy that is in my head, and I intend for them to be bestsellers.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
So, yeah, so I also have no idea how to do that, other than just continuing to enjoy the writing process and really continue to enjoy editing and revising and all that stuff, and continue to dream of the interview I'm going to do on NPR, and the time I'm going to sit with Oprah and talk to her about my books, so it could be a long way off, but I have a feeling that these things happen. Like, I know for the academy, just in the last 3 months, it's March now, so just since December, major things have come forward. I have a location that's feasible. I have a collaborative group who's willing to work with me. I mean, it's just crazy. I didn't do any of that. That came to me. So, smaller goals are just as easy to dream about. And of course, I have smaller goals too. I dream of a spick and span house. It's not happening right now. I've been traveling and I've been really busy. But before I push myself to force myself, because the dust makes me sick, so I have this really big resistance to doing that work. And so before I start, I am just sitting down and imagining the house absolutely clean, all the dust off I have the rafters, all the dust, doing a spring cleaning. Like, what will it feel like when the house is through its spring cleaning? And I find that I can only sit still for about 5 minutes thinking about that before I'm up fiddling with something, cleaning up the kitchen, wiping up the counters, doing the toilet, whatever, this only takes about a few minutes. And when I connect with that feeling of what that's going to be like, my body just seems to move, and I have no resistance at all to doing even some of the funkiest tasks, in that job. So a small dream or a big dream, it doesn't matter. The process is the same.
Yeah, because the universe doesn't know scale. It doesn't know if it's big or small, right? Like, it's just, life is just like, okay, that's the thing that we're dreaming. We're going to move toward that. Right. And I love that that's such a concrete example of like a process that anybody could use. Cleaning the house is such a good example, because it's usually something that you're like, oh God. And so if you move into it of that, from that fuel source, I guess you could call it, and the way that you talk about it, you're coming from this place of like, ugh. And so the whole experience is probably going to be,
Yeah.
But if you take a moment to get into a space where it feels like, oh yeah, it's going to be so amazing when it's clean, then you're feeling that through the process, and it's pulling you rather than pushing you through it.
Exactly. And that's what you're looking for. And so we do spend a lot of time in the sprint talking about how do you align with that sense of being pulled and stay there. because we're so not used to it.
Right.
And we judge it so much that it's a real practice. It's like trying to build your biceps by lifting weights. You have to keep pulling yourself back into alignment with that sense of being drawn toward something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and talk
But it's
about how in the sprint experience, how the connection plays into this. Like, how does it align with what your content is? How does it work with it?
so. Can you clarify the question? How does
The connection that happens in the sprint between the
yeah,
sprinters, what's the
yes.
benefit of connecting with people through this process?
Oh my gosh. Well, connection is one of the sustainable fuel sources that we
So
have,
true.
right?
Yeah.
So if we want to feel connected, I mean, that's what's cool about it. Like there's this whole idea of accountability groups that has risen over the last 100 years, that it's good to, you set a goal, you tell someone, and then they check in with you to see if you have made a major objective. But that's an unsustainable fuel source, right? So instead, here's this group of people who have dedicated, an hour each day for 5 days to be together and to absorb some information and chew on it and reply and respond to it in the group. There's plenty of time to do that. And we get to know each other on a whole different level. And it's not about the other people holding us accountable. It's that this is my part in this group and I love this group. And so I'm going to do these things, in order to participate, I need to have read this article. So I'm going to read this article, right? In order
Mm-hmm.
to participate, I need to think about what am I creating in my own life and create some goals around that. And so the connection part is really important because it does draw us forward, not in a pushy way, but in a like, yeah, I love this group. I want to play here. And in order to play, I need to do this, this, and this. Right.
Yeah.
So it's fabulous. From in all of my work, connection is one of the 3 innate drives that we have as human beings. So one is the drive to learn and to expand, to grow, and another is to connect, either with other people, with ourselves, with something greater than ourselves, with nature, with the universe, however you want to say that. There's this urge to connect. And then the third is to really blossom, just express our individuality in the most full way that we can imagine. So we're all pulled by those urges, and work becomes effortless when we're in alignment with that longing inside ourselves and are just acting from that place of, yeah, this will get me more connection. Yeah, I'll be more connected if I do this. Yeah, I'll blossom more if I do this. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I want to say, like, from my own experience in your sprint and from all the sprints actually that I participate in OneFreePlanet, that connection, I love the experience of this kind of accountability, because it's one thing to talk about it. It sounds really great, right? But when you are actually in the sprint group and you haven't had this kind of accountability before, or you're certainly not used to it as a regular thing, it's amazing to just witness in yourself how you want to do things, even if you're feeling resistance to the task. There's this like, but I'm in it with this group, there's like this camaraderie and like, this wanting to really go through this week together. And it's amazing how much that pulls you through your own resistance.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does. Because I've been in a couple sprints too, and I find the same thing. And it's not about pleasing people.
No.
It's about connecting in a way that feels really fulfilling with this small group of people around this topic, around this idea. Yeah, it's fabulous.
Yeah. Is there anything that you can think of in your, that you offer in your sprint, or maybe outside of your sprint, that just a little tool or exercise or something you could offer to viewers on here that would serve them in kind of, I don't know, moving toward more sustainable fuel sources, or I don't know, anything that comes up for you, like as a concrete thing?
Yeah, one of the things that I love to do is support. So let's just do this. Everybody who's watching, let's just take a minute and take a breath and get here, arrive here in your body. And bring to mind, you can close your eyes if you want to. It's a little easier if you do sometimes, but bring to mind something for which you feel deep appreciation. So it could be a person or a place or an event, but something that you feel in your heart that you deeply, deeply appreciate and value in the world. And just notice what happens in your body as you focus on this thing that you deeply appreciate. You'll feel yourself relax. You may feel a sense of your heart opening. You may feel a warm kind of glow in your mind or in your body somewhere. So just sit with that for a minute and just experience what that's like to appreciate, to just be in a state of appreciation. And now, with your eyes still closed, let that thought of the thing that you appreciate just go and bring to mind something that you're stressed out about. Something that you are worried about, that you think might happen, or something that you're embarrassed about that already did happen, or something that worries you or stresses you out. And notice what happens in your body as you focus and concentrate on that thing that's stressful. So you probably feel some tension building somewhere, some obsessive kind of thoughts about it. There's, you go in this circular thought process about these things. You may feel your heart contract. You may feel yourself protecting or closing down in some way. Okay? And just sit with that feeling for a minute. And just notice what's happening. And then imagine putting that stressful thing off to the side and bring back the thoughts of the thing that you deeply appreciate. So just bring them back, put that stressful thing off to the side. It'll still be there when you want it. You don't have to think about it now, and bring back that sense of appreciation, the person or the place or the thing for which you feel deep appreciation. And feel the shifting that happens in your body, in your emotions, in your mind as you do that. And let yourself relax into that state of appreciation. Just a little more, let your heart open again. Let your body relax. And then just allow a breath and open your eyes if they've been closed. And let's talk about what that was like.
That's so wild. I think I felt that even like, I know we did this before in the sprint group, but I really felt it this time. That's so crazy how, like, if you actually feel into your body and really, really pay attention, like I felt like my chest, like my heart, open, because I was focusing on the birds that are outside my window. Like, I appreciate them so much every day. I love just hearing them. And actually, I'm moving in a week, so like I'm really like just conscious of, I love these birds. I'm gonna miss them, So just like really feeling open to that. And then as soon as I started to go to the stressful thought, I felt this thing go like in my chest,
Just, yeah.
It was just like,
Yeah.
And then it opened back up. It's really amazing.
And so you can tell, like right then, the difference between that unsustainable fuel source, the worry, the obsessive thinking, and the sustainable fuel source that pulls you and opens you. It's such a stark contrast. And some people also mention that it's hard to put down the worrisome thing and re-engage with the appreciation, because we're so used to trying to solve problems with that worry and that type of thought process, that there's a part of us that's reluctant to put it down.
Yeah.
And re-engage in appreciation. So that's a challenge that we all have to face.
Right. Anybody who's watching, if you thought that was really powerful and you enjoyed it, please share. please share it with other people who might get something out of that, because I think just cultivating that awareness, that's such a simple exercise that anybody could repeat again and again and again. And it would be building that muscle of awareness in yourself so that you can consciously choose a particular fuel source that's going to help pull you through things, rather than like coming from that place of what for me felt like totally closed. I wasn't breathing as deeply. Like that, trying to push through life with that energy is so much harder. And
Yes.
so, yeah, if this benefited you, please share. That would be
Yes,
amazing.
please do. Anybody can guide that exercise. You don't take
Right,
any special preparation, right? Yeah,
right. Yeah, and it's just so quick and easy.
yeah.
Well, thank you, Sue. Can you share a little bit about the details of upcoming sprints, ways that people can find out more about you?
Sure. So the upcoming, the Art and Science of Getting Things Done
Mhm.
is the name of the sprint. It's on the OneFreePlanet site in the store. My next sprint is the first week of April, so Monday through Friday, and then the one after that is the first week of May, Monday through Friday, whatever those numbers are. I'm not sure right now.
Yeah.
Um, and we'll be doing this at it's 9 Pacific, so, or noon Eastern. So it's a great way to spend your lunch break if you're on the East Coast. And I think we can accommodate people in Europe as well at that time. That's an
Mhm.
evening time for them.
Right.
So please join us. It's a life-changing event, or I found all the things that I'm covering in the sprint have been life-changing for me. I imagine they will be life-changing for the people who take the sprint. And so you can find me at beingtrulyhappy.com is my website, and there's a little more about me and some of the other things that I offer. But yeah, so
Yeah, and
do
I said
it.
in the text, if you, because we're One Free Planet is a network of affiliates, so I haven't put a link, a direct link in the text because it will depend on who introduced you to One Free Planet. So if you want more information, all you need to do is comment below with the word joy. I picked the word joy for you. And then the name of the person who introduced you to One Free Planet, and then we can get you the appropriate link. And there you can find out a description about the course. It's $88, right, Sue, for the week?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
It's
so $88.
$88, which is, I mean, when you think about it, for under $100, you are going to meet some really fine people that you will maintain connections with, and that we have a process in place to help maintain connections between the different sprint groups. You will learn some life-changing skills and have the direct experience like we just did of connecting with sustainable fuel so that you know what it feels like. And you'll learn all the theory behind staying connected or stalking that feeling of sustainable power and dreaming. It's a fabulous, I'm really excited about it. And I like to do it again because it just reinforces it to me. Every
Right.
time I go through it with people, everybody has something different to share, and I get more reinforced in this in my own life. So it's fabulous.
Yeah, and I can say that you will come away with, like throughout the week, you have people fill out this sheet that they will then have for themselves with all of
Yeah.
the things to recognize, the tools you can use, so you have a thing that you come away with that can really serve you moving forward. That's super clear.
You have a strategic plan, which really appeals to that part of you that is adrenaline based. You know what? It's hailing on my roof right now,
Oh, wow.
so it's getting really noisy in here.
Well, I don't hear it, but I don't know, is there anything that you want to leave people with before we wrap up?
I just want to say that I don't think we were ever intended to struggle the way we struggle as human beings. I think that life can be a lot easier than we have made it out to be, and a lot more enjoyable and a lot more fun. And it's worth doing whatever we need to do to support ourselves in finding that way to do that, finding a way to make it fun, finding a way to make it joyful. So that's my vision for the world, is that we just give ourselves a little bit of a break and
Yes.
stop struggling.
Yes.
Yeah. I really can't hear you anymore because of the hail.
Well, I can hear it now. Well, thank you so much, Sue. It's been so wonderful to spend time with you. I am so grateful that you're part of the One Free Planet community. You bring so much wisdom and love, and I'm sending you love.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.